Greetings and salutations to you all once again. It is me, the Ravenous Spectre. How's it going? How you doing? Everybody having a lovely fucking day? Anyways, sorry. Had a little bit of a brain fart there. I apologize. This video, as you see on the title below, actually deals with the Nintendo Mini that's supposed to be coming out later this year. I would have made a video on this much sooner, but I had plans this weekend. It was one of my friend's birthday parties, and my girlfriend was cooking for it and all of that. So there was just a whole bunch of stuff that was going on this weekend because the news about this had surfaced within the past few days or whatever it was. And I was like, I want to make a video on that, you know, but I got busy and I couldn't make the fucking video. But here it is now, because everything has kind of died down a bit, so here's a freaking video of this freaking nice little collector's edition kind of thingy. But anyways, if you've kind of been following attention to the news, the NES Mini is basically like a really small, itsy, weensy, bitsy, chitsy little tiny thing that is a little tiny NES. Practically looks just like the way it does, just like the one that, you know, released back in the 80s. And it has that 1980s design, and it's going to have over 30 games in it, which is a really interesting idea because you kind of think, well, the NES library is actually really huge, and you're like, knowing how today's technology is, don't you think they could have released like a whole lot more on there, just like a really massive library? Because to be quite honest, I've never been a fan of the original Nintendo. I've never been a fan of the NES. I never really cared much about the games. The system that really came out that really grabbed my attention when it comes to Nintendo has been the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo knocked the NES straight out of the park. The NES ain't got no competition on the Super Nintendo. That's just my opinion. You can have yours. End of discussion. So, anyways, I mean, for example, if there was a Super NES Mini that came out, I'd slash that motherfucker up like that. I would have one of those bad boys for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, especially with all the RPGs on there. If they put all the RPGs on there, man, all those fuck you scalpers that are out there right now trying to charge hundreds of dollars for these rare RPGs would have to end up dropping their prices in order to sell the physical version, because the fact people who would actually have some sense of smarts would end up buying a SNES Mini. I know I sure as hell would, because fuck those high prices. The hell with them. So, anyways, here's the list of the 30 games that's going to be on there. As a matter of fact, some of these I played, some of them I haven't, but I do recognize them, you know, at least in name alone, if you haven't heard about it. Let's see. Let me say this right here. It's coming out November the 11th, and to be quite honest, I really do think I'm going to pick one up. There's reasons for that, and I'll get to that. But the whole thing is going to retail for $60, just like a video game nowadays, or like a AAA game, or whatever the case may be, whether you buy it digitally or physically. And the 30 games are going to be as follows. It's going to be Balloon Fight, Bubble Bobble. I used to play that a lot with my dad. God rest his soul. Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. Those are two great ones, you know, because they started the series of what's just like one of the greatest series ever. You got Donkey Kong Jr. Those are pretty cool. Double Dragon 2, The Revenge. I love the Double Dragon series. Mario. Well, no shit. Excitebike. I used to play that a lot when I was a kid. I used to make so many different tracks, and it's almost like the guy that you would play as. I would use him as like my crash test dummy, and just have him like, I would just make some of these insane tracks and just like crash him into him, make him flip off them and everything, because I was just a sadist when it comes to that crap. Final Fantasy, which by the way, that is one of the titles that is actually, which is actually bringing me to want to try this out, and I'll get to that. I've honestly never played the original Final Fantasy in its original form. I have played Final Fantasy when it was like remastered or remade or whatever the case may be for the PlayStation 1. But I definitely want to end up trying this out for sure, especially considering the fact that I end up hearing that the NES Mini will end up having HDMI support just as well. Galaga's going to be on there. Ghosts and Goblins. I don't really think I'm going to last long. Excuse me, on that. I've tried that before and got my ass kicked like a mofo. Excuse me. It's almost like it's a 2D Dark Souls, if you will. Gradius, Ice Climber, Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure, which I never played the Kirby series on the original Nintendo. I really would like to try that out, because Kirby is just a nice little powder puff pink ball of just mushy, cute, sweet goodness. And let's see, Mario Brothers, well, no shit. Mega Man 2, I don't mess with the Mega Man series because, oh my god. Metroid, it would be really cool to actually play the original Metroid once again, because I haven't played the original Metroid since God knows when. I was really young at that point in time, I think, whenever it came out. Or maybe I was like 7 or something. I don't know. But Ninja Gaiden is going to be on there. Yeah. Yet another hard as nails type of action platformer. Pac-Man, Punch-Out, featuring Mr. Dream. I don't know if that's a new Punch-Out or just an original Punch-Out. But just hell if I know. Star Tropics. I think I actually played that quite a bit back on the original Nintendo. I think if that's what I'm thinking is, then that's pretty sweet. Super C. Now Super C. This is one of the things that I think is really awesome about Super C being on the NES Mini. And that's the fact because the physical version of this thing's, like I said, fuck you scalpers, it's the exact same thing, man. The physical copy of this is like way up there in terms of price. So just with this, like I said before, if people are smart enough to go buy the NES Mini, probably those scalpers will end up actually lowering the price of Super C down with the physical versions. I don't know, but fuck them anyways because I'm not buying from them because they're scalpers, because fuck scalpers. And Super C, I'm definitely interested in wanting to play this. That's another one that actually is kind of bringing me toward the NES Mini is because of that one. It's Super C, obviously, and Final Fantasy, and of course like a few other ones like the Castlevanias just as well. You got Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3. Well, duh. Tecmo Bowl, I don't give a shit about sports games, but I've heard the Tecmo Bowl series was actually like one of the more interesting, maybe arcadey type of football game. I don't mess with the foosballs and the sports balls and all the balls. I don't care about the balls. That went out of line. The Legend of Zelda, obviously, and Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. And yeah, so that's definitely a really interesting package right there. Not to mention the fact that also I ended up hearing on a video that if you were to end up buying all these games separately on the Nintendo eShop, it would probably cost you around $90, something like that. That's what I had heard. What it says here in the article, I'm reading it from Vocative, whatever how you say it, on their website here, and it's also mentioning that the games ran anywhere between $30 to $50 a piece in their heyday. So it's stating here that the package isn't just a steal, but it's a go-to holiday gift for anyone, looking for anyone still nostalgic for games of their youth. Yeah, I agree to that, definitely. Another thing. They also got a suspend save kind of thing, which means you don't have to deal with freaking passwords anymore. God's sakes, I'm glad we're past fucking passwords. Oh, God. Run out of breath. But yeah, you can save wherever you want to. Thank the Lord that this is the case, because especially if you're playing any games like Ghosts and Goblins, I would be like saving every screen. Like I go through one screen, go to the next screen, save in between each one of them, knowing how hard as nails and hard as hell those games can, the Ghosts and Goblins games can be, especially with Ninja Gaiden. Let's see. So it's saying here, you can save wherever you left off, so there's no need to restart a level like when you crash and burn on Legend of Zelda, like you had to do back in the day. Now that's a holiday miracle. I don't doubt that one bit. You know, that's definitely something. And I heard that it was supposed to be like HDMI support with this as well, from what I had heard. So if that would be the case, then I'm wondering if these games will actually look high definition and in all of their pixel glory. I'm wondering if that'll happen. Don't hold me to it. It'll just be real interesting to see and see if that actually happens. And I also ended up hearing some type of news, which I'm not going to bother to type it out, and just waste time doing it or whatever. But I heard something about being able to use the Wiimotes or something with it, or something of that nature. But yeah, it's definitely a really interesting idea that Nintendo has put out. And this is one of the things, I really do hope that this sells a lot, because I would love, like I mentioned before, I would love to see a SNES Mini. I'd buy the shit out of it, like I mentioned, especially if they have the RPGs on there. Holy balls, if they ended up having all those rare RPGs on there. They can have whatever the hell they want else. I don't give a shit what's on there. I would probably wouldn't play them anyways. I would just focus on the RPGs that would be on there, especially the rare ones, like what was it, like Legend of Mana, let's see, ActRaiser, what is it, Illusion of Gaia, Terra Enigma, games. I'm having a brain fart right now. I know they exist and I know what they are, but I just can't think of them all right now because I'm all jumbled in my head. Because it's late in the evening and I'm just like, especially after this past weekend. But yeah, this is definitely something that you guys should check out if you're nostalgic and you definitely want to check out some of these older games that you used to play back in their heyday. And it's just a really interesting idea, and especially considering you can save anywhere you want to, and I'm tripping over my words here. I'm straight now, trust me. I'm wondering if there may be some more information that we may end up hearing from this, because the article I'm reading here isn't everything that I heard about it. Now, like I said, I don't know if that stuff is true or not, but it'd be really interesting to see, and I really do hope that it is. And maybe there might be some more news that may come out in the future regarding the NES Mini. But we'll definitely have to check it out and see what happens in the future. But I'm definitely interested in picking one up for sure, and I really do hope that it's a smash hit for Nintendo, because Lord knows Pokemon Go is right now. Holy shit. I would love to be able to see an SNES Mini. I really would, because like I said before, I'll get this one, and I would definitely get the SNES Mini if they decide to do it. Because I really do think if they decide, if this does really sell a lot, then maybe they might actually do that. I would love to see it. I would love to know if they would do that. I mean, and the thing is, though, is I really do think when fans probably ended up hearing about this, that they probably just thought, oh my god, I really would love to see an SNES Mini, so I'm going to go ahead and buy it and support Nintendo, and hopefully maybe they'll get the idea to make one. Or when they ended up hearing this, they probably were like, you know what, I want to go ahead and write Nintendo and see if maybe they might want to create an SNES Mini, just give them the idea, which they probably ended up having the idea in the first place, They're like, well, we're going to put out the NES Mini first and see how that sells, and then just go from there, But anyways, we'll just have to see what happens. But I'm definitely interested in giving it a shot. It looks cute. It's nice and tiny, and just as cute and precious as it could be. The thing that kind of gets me though is from what I've heard, the way that it looks. Obviously, you can't insert cartridges into it. You can't lift the little flappy thing there to be able to stick the cartridge in and play it or nothing like that. Which yeah, that's a bummer. I mean that's what I heard. That's a bummer to be able to see that. But yeah, it's going to be really cool, at least for me, from my perspective, to be able to own an NES again. I mean, even though it's not like the original OG, original gangsta or whatever console, it'll still be really cool to be able to have it, because it looks just like the one from the 80s. Just much more compact and much smaller. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end this now, and I'll end it like I always do, like I always say at the end of every freaking video. Later, taters.